All right, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Apologize for that. Thank you, Joey, for letting me know I was muted. I don't know why I was unmuted a second ago, so don't know how that turned on, but no worries. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully you're all doing well. Hopefully you guys are excited about today's session. Today, as the title is kind of hinted at, we're going to be taking a look at COVID stocks. Since the main media really wants to push that narrative and talk about potentially going back into lockdowns, or ramping up into COVID, or the Delta variant. And, you know, they've had the COVID stocks have had some sell-offs after things started coming back to normal. But now we're starting to see where it's coming back, and these stocks could be a very viable option. So we're going to use the VectorVest rank analysis here today to find which stocks are the best out of the coronavirus stocks and which ones you should really be putting a lot of your attention to. So before we do that, however, as always, we'll start off taking a look at what's going on in the overall market. Then we'll dive into our topic. And then, as always, we'll save the fan favorite towards the very end, where we'll show you how to analyze any stock that you're interested in less than 10 seconds. So if you guys are ready, as always, hit that like button. If you're on our YouTube page and you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe over there as well. And also, don't forget to share this out over on our Facebook page as well. So that way, you know, you can show your friends, family, colleagues, whatever, whoever, exactly what we do to help them become financially independent. Because as always, that is our main focus here at VectorVest, is to help you retail investors out there become financially independent through the usage of the stock market. Yeah, there we go. All right, so with that, let's go ahead, jump right into the mobile app here today, take a look at what's going on, and then get into it. So right now, we are currently one tick into the green, therefore the market is mildly bullish currently, and VectorVest advocates buying safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. If we scroll down, we're going to take a look at the color guard. The color guard analyzes three key components of our market timing system. The first one we look at is the price of the VectorVest composite. The price of the VectorVest composite is an arithmetic indexed average of about 8,800 stocks that we currently track in the US market, and this gives us a better representation of what's actually going on in the market, because it's not just looking at small subsections of it like the Dow's 30 or the Nasdaq's 100 or the S&P's 500, but it's looking at 8,800 stocks all into one. The next one is the RT, or relative timing. Now this is on a scaling of 0 to 2 to make it easy for yourselves out there. Above 1 is good, below 1 is bad. So at 0.94, that tells us the short-term trend in the market is slightly down still overall. Looking at the buy to sell ratio, or the BSR, this is where we look at the number of buy-rated stocks in a database to the number of sell-rated stocks in a database. So if it's above 1, it tells us there's more buys and sells, or that there's overall market strength. Below 1 tells us there's more sells than buys, or overall market weakness. So as we can see at 0.59, that still shows that we have overall market weakness here. And then these three indicators are comprised to come up with the MTI, or the market timing indicator. This is looking at the underlying trend of the market, and it's cast on a scale of 0 to 2. So at 1.05, the underlying trend in the market is now back to up. After that, we get the trend column, which the first part looks at simply the weekly trend, as we can see that is up since we're higher on a week over week basis. Second part, just simply reiterating the MTI. So since it's above 1, the underlying trend of the market is also up. And then we also finally finish off with the calls column, which stands for our confirmed calls. Now, our confirmed calls are our most conservative timing system here at VectorVest. They're our last signal we get to get into the market and our last signal we get to get out. So no matter who you are, you never want to ignore a confirmed call change. And right now, since it is more of a conservative timing system, it still remains in that down situation currently. Hey there, Jay. Hopefully you're doing well. Hey, Robbie, glad to have you here as well today. So going into it, I saw a comment a few days ago talking about how the mobile app needs to add the asterisk to show the green light buyer timing system. And before we go any further, I just want to point that out here. If you look at August 3rd, you see that little star in the upper right-hand corner. That does show that it's confirmed by the RT Kicker combo timing system. So somebody was asking about that a few days ago. I just wanted to point that out here so that way you can see it firsthand as well. All right, now, before we get into our topic, as always, let's take a look at the advanced declines, because this is a great tool to look at every single day if you're looking for a day to either buy or a day to sell. When you look at the advanced declines, the rule of thumb is a 2-to-1 bias. So if the market's moving higher, we want to see twice as many stocks moving up than moving down. And if the market's moving lower, we want to see twice as many stocks moving down than moving up. That way we know we have the probabilities in our favor at the time that we set up our trade or the time we place our trade. And that's exactly what the advanced declines can help you out with. Hey there, Mark. Hopefully you're doing well. Hey, Drew. Hey, Hang. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Yeah, CTRM is rocking today. I heard the Jockey Club, Steve was saying how they got into it today, actually. So CTRM has been crazy. Can't find any news on it, but I'm gonna contribute it to Glenn's video yesterday, Jay. All right, moving down here, we look at the major indices. The Dow is up about 0.5%. Nasdaq's up about 0.4%. S&P is up about 0.3%. VectorVest Composite up about 0.5%. Hey there, Arturo. Welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing well. And as always, for anybody on our Facebook page, feel free to chime in, comment. I interact with you guys all throughout the session, both on our Facebook and our YouTube. So, feel free to chime in, chat. If you have questions, don't hesitate to let me know and talk with one another as well. We're a community here, and that's exactly what, we want, is for everybody to feel welcome and feel like they can talk with one another and also interact with one another, and myself included. So, hey there, Kristen. Hopefully you're doing well. Othan, I like that. All right, awesome. So I've got everybody caught up, I think, for this, or so far. I've said hi to everybody that said hi so far. So yeah, the markets are moving higher. We have that green light in the price column here so far today. We have twice as many stocks moving up, or actually, yeah, we have twice as many stocks moving up than moving down. Had to do the math real quick, sitting at 59% of stocks moving higher and 27% of stocks moving lower. So clearly meeting that 2-to-1 bias, and therefore, if you're looking for a day to possibly get into a stock, maybe add a position or two to your portfolio, today would not be a bad day to do so. All right, so that's the market recap so far. What we want to do is take a look at some of the COVID stocks or the coronavirus stocks, because they had a great run all throughout 2020, all the way coming into the beginning of 2021. And now that things started coming back to a feeling of normalcy almost, if you will, they had a pretty big sell-off. That run seemed to be done, but now all of a sudden you're starting to see more and more headlines talking about it, talking about how, we could potentially go back into lockdowns, masks are going to be coming back, restrictions are going to be coming back, all of that. And regardless of your personal opinions on it, I'm not going to talk about personal opinions here today. I'm just going to focus on facts and focus on the media, because regardless of your personal opinions, there's still opportunities to be made, it would seem, especially as they talk about it more and more here in the States. Hey, good morning, Paul. Welcome. Worcestershire, England. Welcome. Awesome. Glad to have you here today. So yeah, regardless of what you think, the market, I said this yesterday during our hot stock panel with Glenn and I, but essentially the way you got to think about trading in the market is the market doesn't care about your feelings. It's as simple as that. Market doesn't care about your feelings. Therefore, you have to remain unemotional and not get attached to stocks and look for it based upon, the money making opportunity rather than what you feel about a certain company or stock or what's going on, whether it be political or social, regardless. So therefore, we're going to analyze and use the VectorVest rank analysis to analyze the top COVID stocks to see which ones you should really be putting a focus on, which ones you should really be, taking a look at and spending more time with. Oh man, for some reason, the chat on Facebook wasn't scrolling, so I missed a whole bunch of other comments there. Hello, Shape. Maritas, good morning. Robbie, I like that emoji. And Dundra, hopefully. If I mispronounced that, I do apologize. Dundra, good morning. You're watching while at work. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in here today. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, we are going to be looking at some of the premium watch lists, and if you're just on a mobile subscription here at VectorVest, you do have to have at least a premium version of the mobile. If you're on a desktop subscription, this all comes included. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we jump into it. So that way people, if I get the question of, I don't see this, that would be why. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the stock pick ideas over here on the left. Come down to the premium watch list. And as you can see, you have a lot of great opportunities about these. We've watched them all, or we've looked at a lot of these, pretty much all of these at some point. But what we're going to be focusing on is taking a look at the coronavirus stocks. Now, if I go back before we even jump into it, if you want to see what the watch list or any watch list is about here at VectorVest or using the stock advisory app, simply tap on the little eye there. And as you can see, stocks on the forefront of the coronavirus pandemic. So it gives you a little description about that right then and there. Just say D. All right, I like that a lot better. Thank you. And once again, I do apologize if I did butcher it. I do apologize. Hey there, Chris. Hopefully you're doing well. All right, so let's jump into it. And no surprise here, the very best stock is probably the biggest name when you talk about coronavirus or COVID, and that is going to be Moderna. One of the first vaccine providers had emergency clearance through the FDA, I believe it was, and one of the biggest names in the vaccine front there. So obviously, Moderna is going to be one of the best opportunities out there. That's the most obvious one. But there are other opportunities to look at and ones to consider as well. So as you can see, Moderna had a great run yesterday, pulling back a little bit here today. Let's go take a look at it though. So we just tap on it, and then the 4 indicators at the bottom give us all that we need to know about the stock. Basically, if you're somebody that doesn't have VectorVest, or maybe this was you before you ever tried VectorVest, if you already are a subscriber with us, and you go out and you try to look at financial statements and compile all this data out there and try to come up with, what it all means, trying to put it together, figuring it out, comparing different aspects of it, that can take hours upon hours. I know because I was there myself. I saw my father do it growing up as a kid before he found VectorVest. And I know from personal experience how tedious and how long that process can be. Well, luckily here at VectorVest, we take all that data out there that you would have to try to sift through on your own, comprise it or compile it, put it into 4 simple to read indicators. So that way it reduces the time that you have to put into it to get the analysis that you're looking for, and also frees up a lot of your time to be able to go do things you'd much rather be doing rather than sitting at a computer for hours on end. So we take a look at the 4 indicators. The first one we come to is the RV, or relative value. This is looking at the long-term potential of the stock or the upside potential of the stock over the next 1 to 3 years. So all of these are going to be cast on a scale of 0 to 2. And once again, just like we said before, above 1 is good, below 1 is bad. If you can remember that, VectorVest will make your investing career a lot simpler. So at 1.87, clearly this stock has great long-term potential. The next one is the RS, or relative safety. Now this is looking at the risk factor essentially in any stock. If it's above 1, that tells us there is less risk associated with it, and below 1 would tell us that there is more risk associated with it. So at 1.13, that tells us there is less risk associated with this stock, which is actually pretty uncommon, especially for a biotech stock. Then we get the RT, or the relative timing. This is looking at the short-term price trend of the stock, and it's cast on a scale of 0 to 2 once again. So above 1 shows the short-term trend is up, and the closer to 2 it is, the stronger the uptrend. So RT doesn't just show up or down, it also shows the magnitude or the momentum behind that move as well. So at 1.77, this has a really strong uptrend currently. No surprise there. And then overall, we get the VST rating, which is a combination of all three of these indicators comprised into one, and gives you a great overall view of the stock from both a fundamental and a technical basis. So that way it helps you make that decision a lot easier, a lot faster, so you can move on, do other things you'd rather be doing. Samantha is asking, I know you said this already, but I missed it. What tab are you looking at on VV are you on? So right now I am in the premium watch list here. And I'm looking at the coronavirus watch list that we have pre-built there for you. Jay say Moderna, never heard of it. Well, it's a small stock, you know, it had a little bit of an upbringing throughout 2020. You know, it's a name that most people may not be familiar with, Jay. All right. Is the desktop version going to be available for iOS? Not for iOS, Andy, because the desktop version is a platform base, whereas this is an app base. You know, if you're looking for it for or just Android, or excuse me, for Mac itself, I know they have some type of client that runs the VectorVest software on a Mac. I'm not too familiar with it. I haven't used it myself, but yeah, there is some other options with that. But no, it's not going to be a native Mac version from everything I can tell. You're welcome, Samantha. Is that part of the Derby? Which part? Not sure. Maybe I missed something, or I got too far ahead of myself. All right. So, as you can see, when you look at the stock, getting back into it, getting into the analysis, you know, there's a lot of people out there that struggle, especially, you know, trying to find all the information available and trying to piece it together, especially when you start to get into the old school thought process of looking at PE ratios and all that. And then you got to determine, well, this PE ratio is for, you know, this size of a company, and this PE ratio is good for this size of a company, that kind of stuff. VectorVest takes all that out of it for you and puts it into easy to understand analysis, or easy to use information. So the RV, just to show how fast this can be. The relative value long-term potential above 1 tells us it has great long-term potential. The relative safety is above 1, tells us there is less risk associated with this stock. RT is above 1, tells us this stock is in a really strong uptrend. So overall, this stock is definitely going to be favorable. The portion you're looking at with premium. No, this is not part of the Derby. Derby is for the desktop program. Nothing about Derby will be talked about here. Ever thought of a penny stocks pick tab? Haven't actually. I haven't thought of it myself, but that's interesting. Othan, I will definitely take note of that suggestion and bring it up next time I talk with our developers and kind of kick it around with the guys here. But I like that idea, especially Glenn's been doing a lot of YouTube content on penny stocks, so I may have to get him involved and have him, you know, help me come up with something for you guys. But that's an interesting one. Maybe we could do it next week. I don't know. I like that idea, though. I do like that idea. Thank you for that. Okay, so we just went through, we saw how easy it is to analyze any stock, or analyze this stock. And if you're somebody who does like to actually look at the data, as always, we do provide that extended data down below so you can really dive in and do your own calculations. especially if you're getting familiar with VectorVest, so that way you can do the math and make sure it checks out essentially. All right, one other thing from this screen, once we've analyzed these stocks by utilizing the indicators, if you like what the indicators are telling us, which, so far we like what we're seeing here. This has all positive analysis so far. So the next step is taking a look at the graph. A graph is like a big picture of the stock. And as the old saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And that's exactly what this tells us right here. For some reason, my internet goes out on me from time to time. There we go. Get back out of here. Go to the premium watch list. Scroll down. Go to coronavirus stocks. Go back to Moderna. Tap on it. Boom. Instantly. Not very hard. All right, so getting back into it, we've talked about graphing a lot here over the last few weeks, so I'm not going to get too much involved with that here today, but just taking a quick look at this stock. Right now we're looking at a 1-year price graph, and we're looking at price shown in candlesticks. I believe we have a 3/8 exponential moving average. Yep, 3/8 in the upper right-hand corner, so it verifies that, and then RT at the bottom. So looking at it, yeah, RT has been steadily rising for quite some time. We had that pullback from January till about March, even really coming into about May. You still had just some sideways moves rather than that nice upward trend we saw throughout most of 2020 coming into 2021. So you had a little bit of a consolidation period. Well, you noticed RT was dropping and then finally started taking off again right around the middle of May, or end of May actually, and then in a sense run up from, what is that, 175 roughly, all the way up to where it's trading at now, 425. Wow. Or 420, excuse me. So you have this huge move just by looking at RT. You see RT is still picking up, and you have this really big run up so far that we're noticing in the price action as well. You could add in your own technical analysis, whatever you find is most successful for yourself, and help time it. But there is definitely some great opportunities to be had here. You had a big day. If we go zoom into a 1 month, you had a big up day yesterday. So not really surprised to see price pulling back a little bit today. Maybe some profit taking going on, just taking a little bit of a breather. But overall, the 3 and the 8 are still positive. RT is still moving higher over the month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever you want to look at. So yeah, this is definitely a great candidate to easily make some good profits on. So if we get back out of here, go to the next stock just by simply swiping on it. You don't have to go all the way back to your watch list or all the way back to that premium watch list to get to the next stock. All you got to do if you're on the screen, you can just simply swipe to, move your finger to the left. So swipe right, I guess it would be. And that helps you quickly go through one stock after the next, saving yourself even more time here. So looking at Novax. Novax has great long-term potential, but this one does have a little bit more risk associated with it, with an RT at 0.9, or excuse me, an RS of 0.96. Looking at the RT though, because this is more of an aggressive stock, it does have more momentum currently with an RT of 1.86. So extremely high, moving up to that level of 2.0 almost. So overall, the VST rating is definitely favorable. All right. So we jump into the graph here. We have it on a 1 month because that's what we just looked at. Let's go back to a 6 month. 6 month doesn't look that great. Let's go to a 1 year. 1 year still looks a little bit more volatile. So you can see how the VectorVest analysis, just based off of these two stocks that we've looked at so far, has really shown through. That RS rating, one had an RS above one and looked like a nice steady climber, had a slight pullback. One has an RS below one, has more volatility in it. And you can definitely see that here in the price action where you had a big spike at the beginning of January, a sell-off come crashing back down. It's filled that gap. And since that point, it's now starting to move higher, but bigger swings overall with this. So therefore, if you're more of an aggressive trader, you're looking for short-term, volatility to take advantage of, this may be a better option. But if you're somebody who's wanting more of that swing trade, nice steady swing trade opportunity, Moderna clearly takes that cake. Getting the earnings call, and there were 15 of them in the list. Not sure I'm following you on that one, Terry. All right, so NVAX, yeah, we can see it still has some momentum. You had some consolidation. Let's actually zoom in. Let's go 3 month. Waiting for my internet. Come on. All right, where's my Wi-Fi? There we go. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect. Let's zoom in. 3 month. You had some consolidation. You had a channel here based off of what we were seeing where you had the high right around 220 and then the lows right around 180. So you had about a $40 channel that the stock was moving sideways in. Well, that's consolidation. The breakout of consolidation is when you want to typically jump on board because that's showing momentum has been building up, winding up almost like a spring. And then when it breaks out of that consolidation, it explodes and you get a really strong momentum move either direction depending on which way it breaks out. So it broke out of that 220 range. Yesterday closed above it. Today getting follow through. So that's that confirmation that you want to see. If you're somebody who likes looking at volume for confirmation, because anybody who's been in my streams before or any other streams, volume is conviction. You'll hear Glenn and I talk about it a lot. Looking at it yesterday was huge volume, which is definitely a positive sign. And today's volume is still strong, about a third of what it was yesterday. But then again, we still have a lot of trading hours left in today's session. So you have a breakout on strong volume and follow through here today. This is exactly what you want to see for a breakout play. So if you're technical in nature, this could be a great opportunity for a short-term move. So we go back into here, go back into the list. So as you can see, VectorVest automatically brings the best potential candidates to the top and the worst potential candidates to the bottom. There may be some in here that, maybe further down the list. We can scroll down, taking a look, getting towards the very bottom of the list. We get a lot of companies, honestly, I'm not too familiar with, lower dollar stocks, but ones that could potentially be interesting candidates to take an eye on or keep an eye on. You have Biogen in here. You have a lot of biotech stocks in here just in general. I don't know if BNTX and Pfizer are in the list or if they made the list, but I will take a look at the full master list after this, and if they're not, I will get a hold of who controls this portion of it and get those stocks added because, yeah, they definitely need to be added into this list and they definitely need to be part of that conversation if you ask me, especially with how much BNTX has made the headlines as well, really going back and forth with Moderna over the last couple of weeks. So as you can see, a lot of great opportunities can be found here, but some opportunities may be more aggressive, some of them may be more conservative. And if you know your investment style, then you can take advantage of it by the rank buy. So if you're somebody looking for more long-term, check out RVP for COVID stocks. All right, yeah, I will definitely do that there in a second, Drew. But if you're somebody who's, let's say, more conservative in nature, more long-term focused, well, go up here, sort it by RS. RS is one of the most powerful long-term indicators out there. So if you're long-term oriented, RS is definitely where to go. And as you can see, ABBV comes in at the number 1 with an RS rating of 1.28. Looking at the chart, zooming out a little bit, slow and steady. Not huge moves, but moves that you can sleep at night and not worry about what's going to happen the next day. So RS is a great indicator. I kind of talk about it as more of that sleep factor, if you will. And if you can sleep good at night, it typically is a stock that's going to have a high RS rating. And ABBV clearly takes that here. If we go back, let's go to the next one based off of RS. REGN, another very common popular name. This one hasn't had such a great year overall. You saw a sell-off coming in for the first half of the last year, but it has picked back up, breaking past previous highs. So you had a correction, and now it's starting to take back off again. RVP makes a specific needle to inject drugs. All right, yeah. I will definitely take some of these suggestions like RVP, BNTX, and Pfizer, and make sure that I have them listed here and get them added to the list after today's session. So expect to see the updates in the next couple of hours after we finish today's session. For anybody who's tuning in for the first time, may not be familiar with all of this, I am what is the self-designated mobile man, if you will. I control a lot of what goes on in the app, a lot of the new content that goes into the app, and the vast majority of the new content that goes into the app or the new improvements or features that come into the app are all based on your guys' suggestions and recommendations that you guys give me every single week through these live streams that we do. So, the bigger the community, the bigger the group that I get to hear from, the more useful tools that you want to talk about, that you want to see, the more likely that they get in there. Kamal's first time. Welcome, Kamal. Hopefully you're doing well, and thank you for tuning in here today. So yeah, REGN had a great run, but if we look at the RT, we'll go back to the graph settings, change the lower graph to RT, let's say, go back. RT was below 1 that whole entire time the stock was selling off, but then all of a sudden, RT had a little bit of hope there, crossed back down, and then really second time potential, but didn't really start getting in until right about, where is that level at? Right about there roughly, maybe a little bit, yeah, right about there. So beginning of June, but at that point it was trading at 525 roughly, and now it's trading at 590. So in a very short period, not a bad move whatsoever. Send you an email for a question. Yeah, feel free to. Or if you don't have my email, you can always send it just to support at VectorVest and just ask them to forward it to me, and they'll forward it over to me as well. But yeah, feel free to shoot me an email anytime. All right. So yeah, REGN, VectorVest kept you out when the stock wasn't doing great, but now getting you back in when the stock's starting to improve. And as you can see, easy money making opportunities here. All right, so that was based off of RS. Now, if you're somebody who's more momentum focused, RT is that short-term price trend indicator. So utilize this to find the stocks that are really, rocking and rolling for that momentum that you're looking for to take advantage of. So NVAX, no surprise there. We looked at that one. Moderna, no surprise there. XAIR, one that we haven't really talked about here today. Taking a look at the RT. The RT was at 1.5, so really a strong RT overall. Looking at the 1 month, you can see a lot of volatility in here. You had a big spike. Oh, let's zoom in. Big spike here, pulling back a little bit. 3-indicator still positive, just kind of consolidating, waiting for that next move higher. Now, if you're going to be trading something like this on a momentum play, obviously your line of sand probably be right around these lows here on these candles. As long as it stays above that, you're not hitting new lower lows. So therefore, by definition, keeping you in an uptrend on that one. All right. And then last but not least, if you're looking for long-term potential, more aggressive stocks that look no further than utilizing the RV or the relative value. The relative value is looking at the long-term potential of a stock. And as you can see here, over on the right-hand column, it does sort it and it does show you that that indicator that you're ranking it by or that you're sorting it by. So it tells you for Moderna, for example, RV is at 1.87. Novavax, RV is at 1.85. APT, 1.65. ABBV, 1.57. So you can automatically bring the best stocks right to the top of the list based off your own personal investment style or investment sentiment. Parabolics to buy and sell. Been trying to get VectorVest to add for years. Gary, not familiar with parabolics myself. But shoot me an email or send it to, shoot me an email. For anybody that needs my email, if you don't have it, I'll just go ahead and give it to you right now. It's Patrick, PATRICKF as in Foxtrot at VectorVest.com. So yeah, if you have some questions or you have something, send me an email with it. Give me some insight on it so that way I don't sound like a rambling fool when I go try to present it. Give me, something to go off of so I can get more details about it. And I'd be glad to bring it up to the development team, the guys here in education, and kick that around. So never hesitate to let me know what you guys want to see. So hopefully that helps, or helps, give you some help there. All right. BNTX was awesome. Wonder why it's missing. Kieran, I have to go back. I know that this was done as a special watch list a while back. Actually, a while is a lot more than a while ago. I'd have to go back and see how this watch list was exactly created, why it was created, where these stocks came from. But yeah, I definitely feel like it needs an update. Going through it yesterday, looking at some of the stocks, going through it today with you guys, seeing your guys' input, I agree that, yeah, there's definitely some opportunities for this to be updated, bringing it to current. And I'm going to be working on that right after today's stream. What metrics do I look at if I am a day trader? If you're a day trader, momentum. But really, the best thing I can tell you, if you're a day trader, somebody who's, trading aggressively like that, look into our Jockey Club. I know we have some Jockey Club members here in chat, both on our YouTube and our Facebook. If you guys want to give your insight or talk about some of the trades that you guys have had with those, feel free to. But that is our live trading room where we use our own actual money and do things from day trading to swing trading and anything in between, position trading, all of that. So if you're looking for day trading, I highly recommend you look into our Jockey Club. All right. So now we've got that out of the way. If you guys have any questions on this list, Drew, I like that one. If you guys have any questions about this list, I know you guys have made some suggestions on stocks you want to see added to the list. I will take care of that here later after today's stream. Expect those updates probably within the next hour or two after the stream. But if you guys have any other questions regarding this list, feel free to let me know. If not, let's go ahead and start to analyze your own stocks. Now, as always, this is a fan favorite. I always save it to the very end. If you guys have stocks that you want to see analyzed and see how easy VectorVest can make analyzing those stocks, feel free to start putting those symbols in the comments or in the chat. I will be glad to go over those and show you how fast it can be. Now, if you're already a subscriber of VectorVest or already subscribed to the VectorVest Stock Advisory, you can do this all on your own. But if you're new to VectorVest or maybe you're considering VectorVest, click on the link in the description below of today's video. You can sign up for a free 2-week trial of the Stock Advisory, and you can do this anywhere you're at on the go. As long as you have an internet connection of some sort, whether it be cellular or Wi-Fi, you can do this anytime you want. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Do we get a... Yes, Drew. Yes, you do. All right. Yeah, Mark, I know. I heard they don't do a mug either. I'm disappointed with that. All right. So once you want to analyze a stock, all you got to do is tap on the magnifying glass in the upper right, and then go ahead and type in your symbol. So we'll start off. We had MVIS coming from Sherry. Let's go ahead. MVIS. So MVIS, up 20% here today. Looking at the 4 indicators, for anybody just tuning in, I'll just briefly go over those. For people who have been here throughout the session, once again, thank you. But you're probably going to be familiar with these indicators. But real quickly, just a quick refresher. RV, long potential of the stock, or long-term potential over the next 1 to 3 years. As you can see, it's below 1, so that has poor long-term potential. RS tells us the risk factor involved. It's below 1. That tells us there's more risk involved with this stock. RT is the short-term price trend. At below 1 tells us it is in a downtrend on a short-term basis, even though it's up 20% here today. Overall, based off these 3 indicators, the stock is unfavorable. But looking at it, I mean, clearly you have momentum here. If you're a day trader, this could be an interesting one to look at. But, it gapped up. Most of the move was made right out of the gate this morning. Since that point, the stock hasn't really gone anywhere. So if you're somebody that was late to the punch, you missed out on the holding it overnight, missed out on most of that move. Right now, you're probably either flat on your position or just, simply underwater a little bit maybe and just hoping and praying. And as we always talk about, hoping and praying is not a successful trading plan, so don't use it. All right. So let's get in over here. Where was it? IMP. Let's go ahead. IMP. IMP. Not finding. Is that U.S. markets? Let's try the other one you're looking for. TMST. There we go. Timken Steels. Timken Steel has great long-term potential. It does have a little bit more risk than the average stock out there. It is in a slight decline currently. It's a good stock, but right now is not the time to be long in it. Therefore, it does have a sell rating currently. Let's see. CTR or CTXR. XR. CTXR has great long-term potential, does have a lot of risk associated with it though. So it's an aggressive stock and it's free falling essentially right now. Therefore, the stock's average, because it has long-term potential, it has potential, but the timing is not there. Obviously, sell rating, I'd be very careful with this one right now. Let's go ahead, take a look at the next one. QUBT. Quantum Comp. First time I'm looking at this. So this one, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. So it is a speculative stock. It does have some short-term momentum to the upside. So that's positive if you're a momentum trader, but not enough momentum currently to assume that much risk associated with it. So therefore it's unfavorable at the moment. Let's go over here. FLGT. It's funny, some people who post some of the stocks that I know are in the Jockey Club, I can see based off the stocks that they ask about who their favorite Jockey Club host is. Just letting you guys know that. FLGT, great long-term potential, less risk associated with it. You have a really nice, strong short-term uptrend. So yeah, overall the stock is definitely favorable here. ZIM. ZIM, going into it, great long-term potential, does have a little bit more risk associated with it. You're basically flat on that short-term trend of the stock. Overall, it's a good stock. Personally, I need to see that timing pick up a little bit more. There we go, Jay. Oh, that's funny. All right, where can I find the VectorVest area where you open these COVID stocks? So Scott, if you're on the stock advisory or you're looking for the desktop, there should be a watch list there for it. I forget which folder it's in the desktop. On the mobile, all you do is go to the premium watch list. You'll find the coronavirus stocks right there. Also, if you guys have been enjoying yourselves here today, if you guys liked what we've talked about here today, don't forget, as always, hit that like button, share this with all your friends, share this with all your family, and if you're on our YouTube page, make sure to turn on notification bells so that way you get updated every time we go live. All right, so where was I? AMD. All right. Man. Just by a quick vote. Anybody here tuned in to the hot stock panel yesterday? Glenn posted this stock yesterday. AMD has great long-term potential. It has solid fundamentals. Even though it's down 5% today, it still is in a really strong uptrend, especially when you look at the short-term basis. Pretty much moved parabolically over the last few days. Overall, the stock is favorable, but if you guys were here yesterday for the live stream, just to quickly talk about it, let's go to a 3-month. Be very careful. We looked at it based off of envelopes, which show extreme levels in a stock. It's the longest it's ever been trading outside of envelopes over the last year. And it looks like, there's a lot of profit taking going on yesterday and getting some follow through here today. After a parabolic move, you typically see stocks pull back. You see people taking profits, and that's what we're kind of seeing right now. 3 and 8, if you've been into it for a while, though, the 3 and 8 are still positive. You still have strong fundamentals, all of that. Just from a short-term basis, you do see a potential pullback occurring very soon. All right, so let's go. In that case, CTRM Mark, I like that. Let's go ahead, take a look at NVO. NVO has good long-term potential, has solid fundamentals, so less risk associated with it. You have a really nice, strong short-term uptrend, so overall, this stock is definitely favorable. Express, EXPR, Express. Definitely a speculative play right now. A lot of these retail stocks, quote unquote meme stocks, don't really like calling them by that. But a lot of these retail stocks are more speculative plays currently. You have poor long-term potential. You do have a lot of risk involved with it. You're in a slight uptrend on a short-term basis, but not enough to take on the amount of risk involved with it. So therefore, the stock is not favorable currently. Let's see, ARCT, great long-term potential, but a lot of risk to get to that long-term potential. You have a strong short-term uptrend currently, so therefore the stock's favorable. VMC, good long-term potential, less risk associated with this stock. You have a slight uptrend. Typically, I like seeing the RT at 1.1 or greater. This is slightly below that, but close to it. Overall, the stock is favorable, but be careful with that RT currently. Let's see. BAC has great long-term potential. You have solid fundamentals, so less risk associated with it. However, the stock is basically flat. Therefore, the stock is favorable, but you need to see that timing pick back up. Let's go ahead. CTRM. Now, this is one of Glenn's. Oh man, I knew it was up 10% pre-market this morning. I did not realize it's continued to move. This is one of Glenn's top stocks that he's been looking at. I can hear him through the wall behind me right now. CTRM has great long-term potential, but a lot of risk associated with it. This is more like This is more of an aggressive stock than anything else. And timing, even with the 27% uptrend or up day, still is in a short-term downtrend. One day doesn't make a trend, and therefore you're not going to see that RT move that much, even when it's up this much here today. Overall, stock is not favorable, but if you want more insight onto this stock, head over to our YouTube page, give Glenn's video a like, watch it. He has great analysis and great insight about this stock and what they're doing. All right. Let's see. Getting back into it. SSRM has great long-term potential, but a lot of risk to get to that potential. So once again, more of an aggressive play. However, the timing, the stock is basically flat, slightly down a little bit on a short-term basis. Stock is favorable, but you need to see timing pick back up before you jump back in. Let's see. BB. All right. So BlackBerry. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. You're in a steady decline. Overall, the stock is not favorable. Once again, if you're looking at it from a heavily manipulated stock standpoint, I'm going to call them that from now on. Call them what they actually are. They're, heavily manipulated stocks, not meme stocks. Heavily manipulated stocks is what I'm going to refer to them as from now on. If you're looking at heavily manipulated stocks, a lot of them come from retail, just in general. And there is speculation involved. Right now, you're speculating about how much manipulation is going on behind the scenes. And so therefore, when a play like that, you're not really focused on the fundamentals because those are all historical data. You're looking at the future of the company and how much manipulation there is on the company. So if you're looking to time these a little bit better, though, if you're going in and out, if you're trading them in and out throughout the time, RT is going to be your focus right now, even though it's up 4%. You're probably not going to be jumping on board here today. All right, let's see. IIPR has great long-term potential. You have a little bit less risk associated with this stock. You have a nice solid uptrend. Overall, the stock's favorable. Let's see. What do we have next? NATR. NATR has great long-term potential, but you do have a little bit more risk associated with this stock. You're in a steady decline currently on a short-term basis. The stock is good. You just need to see timing there. Let's see. Market is too high. Yeah, I mean, crypto's actually having a phenomenal day. With the London fork patch coming out yesterday or just going live for Ethereum. Ethereum's been doing extremely well. It could give Bitcoin a run for its money very, 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 very easily. All right, let's get into two more here for the day. Is that a hot hand lately? Yeah, I know. EXPI We'll do EXPI and then one more. EXPI has great long-term potential. You have solid fundamentals, so less risk associated with the stock. The timing is moving parabolic right now, 2.0. So overall, yeah, this stock is a great stock. All right, and last but not least, let's get one more. Let's find out what we want to do. SBOW? All right, sure. SBOW. Not familiar with it, so taking a quick look at it, you have good long-term potential, but you do have a little bit more risk associated with it. You have a nice steady short-term uptrend, so overall the stock's favorable. Looks like it's retreating a little bit, but keep an eye on it. Wait for that timing. The timing continues to move lower. Obviously, take your profit, move on. But as long as the timing starts picking back up, yeah, I like what we see here with this one. Ethereum is rocking. Yeah, exactly. CI just reported better than expected earnings. Any idea why they dropped today? CI, Cigna, probably poor guidance. That would be my best guess. You can beat earnings. Look at GM last night. Let's go ahead and pull up GM. I know I said I was going to only do one more, but GM last night reported earnings, or last night or the day before. Let's go look at the chart. 1 month. There we go. So yeah, 2 days ago they reported earnings. They blew expectations out of the water. They blew revenues out of the water, sales out of the water, everything. Perfect earnings score. But later on, they happened to talk about their projection for the remaining half of the year. And that came in a little lower than what it was expected, which I think is a smart move, especially with more and more talks of lockdowns and all that. And the fact that they had to close their plant in Kentucky for the time being, and the chip shortages. So they're going to have a hard time getting the cars off the lot or the factory. But they dropped 8.5%, almost 9%. Just because they had a good earnings report, but their revised forecast for the remainder of the year came in a little lower than what Wall Street apparently wanted. Come on, the company is making money; they're doing really well, and the stock drops 9%. So this just goes to show, earnings are not the be-all, end-all debate or guide here for you. Earnings are great, but at the same time, don't try to just play earnings calls based off of what you think is going to happen. Even if the company is making money, if they say one wrong word, Wall Street will smack them down like we saw with GM yesterday. So always keep that in mind. Be very careful on an earnings or trying to play an earnings call, because even if you have the right guess and you have the right numbers that the company is making money and they're going to grow their earnings, they're going to beat expectations, they can still get smacked down like we saw with GM. All right. Rant over. So getting back to the homepage, taking a look at it. And once again, if I didn't analyze all your stocks, if I didn't get to all of them here today, I do apologize. We have a lot of people tuning in, which I love. I love getting to interact with you guys. But if I didn't get to them, as always, you can sign into the app wherever you're at on your mobile device and click on that little magnifying glass, type in your symbol, and do the same analysis as fast as I have. If you're not already on the VectorVest software, not already on the VectorVest stock advisory app, click on the link in the description, sign up for the 2-week free trial, and you can then start doing this on the go wherever you're at, right from the comfort of your own device. So getting back into the homepage though, market is still one tick into the green. The market's mildly bullish still, and VectorVest advocates buying safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. We scroll down, we still have our one green light from the price column. RT is still flat. Buy to sell ratio though, picking up from where we last looked at it. MTI also picking up a little bit from where we last looked at it. Definitely positive signs. And then as we scroll down, advances continue to strengthen. Decliners picking up, or decliners actually pulling back a little bit. They were at 27%, now they're down to 25%. Advances have moved up to 64%. So clearly giving us that 2-to-1 bias here. And as we look at the major indices, the Dow's at almost up 0.6% now. NASDAQ's up almost 0.7%. S&P's up about 0.4. Overall, the VectorVest composite up about 0.8%. So that's your market review. Thank you all once again for tuning in here. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If not, I hope, you've learned something here today. You've got some new ideas to take advantage of. And if you haven't already hit that like button, hit that like button. Like the Facebook page. If you're on our YouTube page, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to our live page. And with that, take care. Be safe out there. Be careful out there in the markets. Have a great weekend, and make sure to be here at 11 a.m. Eastern next week as we kick off another live session. I think we'll talk about penny stocks next week. That seems like a good topic that haven't really done a whole lot about. So let's talk about penny stocks next week. If you guys are interested, make sure to be here bright and early as we kick off at 11 a.m. Eastern. So until next time, take care. Adios. See you guys.